4.2, here's the old gem. Section 43 of the Terrorism Act 2000 should be a last resort. And yet, what do we hear every fucking time? Oh, it's that last resort. It was a great resort. We all stayed there. It was, no, not one of those resorts. Last resort for the cops to use, even though it's the first resort they go to. Learn your rights, everybody. That's where you need to start learning. Your rights exist before any license or contract or agreement or consent ever happens. Your rights were there first. Don't downgrade them to something else. How to respond to police auditors. 3.31. It is important to remain calm and professional if responding to a situation where someone is recording a public or civil service premises and or staff. Alright? Calm, professional. Their first interaction could be with anybody in policing, but it is likely to be front counter staff. Only if they go in. It is equally important to have an appropriate response if questioned by these groups. Yeah, we don't answer questions is the response you got. With the knowledge that they are looking for an appropriate response by police or to be unlawfully detained. I'll say that again. Appropriate response if questioned by these groups with the knowledge that they are looking for an inappropriate response for police or to be unlawfully detained. No, they're not. See, now they're saying with the knowledge that they are looking for an inappropriate response. We are there to capture the police's inappropriate response due to poor training, poor management, and poor fucking hierarchy getting the fucking word down. That's what it is. It's got nothing to do. How do they know the auditor's intent? Did they ask him? How do they know what anybody is looking for when filming something? No, this is just the NPCC slagging off the auditors to say they're looking for trouble, whereas a large majority of them aren't. They're just not doing it 100% right. But then what is right and what is wrong? Everybody has their own way, and I respect that. 3.2. When contacting such groups, remember that your first words will often dictate the remainder of the contact. Their first words, and they can come out. Just thought I'd ask what you're filming for. Okay, now they're asking for information. So the first bit of information you should do is pull out this fucking NPCC form and hand it to them. It's got all the information they need. End of. Don't dick them around, don't get obnoxious, don't go uppity. Just hand them the information they clearly require. Alright? And then stick to it. If they start asking for ID, print out the legislation that says that you're not obligated to identify unless suspected of committing, about to have done a crime or an offence. That's it. You know, they could say, oh look, I need your name. Instead of going, well, you're not getting it, ask them or give them a conditional acceptance. I'd be happy to supply you with those details, provided you could show me the information that says that you're not obligated to identify yourself to me when I am. Go ahead, put the onus back on them. They can't. It is in their code of conduct and code of practice to identify themselves. And it's in your Bill of Rights that you don't. You have the right to silence. Shut the fuck up, everyone. And I'm a fine one to preach. But anyway. 3.2. When contacting such groups, remember that your first words will dictate the remainder of the contact. Yeah, so don't be an arsehole, coppers. As with any contact, exactly, so don't escalate. A professional greeting such as, how's it going today? What, are you Australian all of a sudden? What's this, how's it going? I mean, throw another shrimp on the barbie. How's it going today? Will often work better than, what are you doing out here? Or, why are you recording our police building? Yeah, it might do. You think about that. Remember that absent reasonable, and this is in red, remember that absent reasonable suspicion, this type of contact would be considered consensual, and to avoid any coercive, demanding, or aggressive questioning. Are you getting this, police officers? Police constables, should I say? Because police constables are there to keep the peace as a peace officer, keep the Queen's peace. A policy enforcement officer is a police officer, where they enforce legislative rules of society against its civilian population. Anyway, 3.3. The individuals frequently ask if they are being detained, because often they are, or what the basis is for their detention. Absent reasonable suspicion, and appropriate would be to tell the person that they are, okay, listening cops, not being detained. They are free to leave at any time, as they are free to stay, and they are free to continue with their activities. I mean, could the NPCC have said that with a little bit more sarcasm? Would have been handy. 3.4. If an attempt to obtain personal details should be made, the auditor blogger must be informed that there is no legal requirement for them to do so. You don't say. The exception to this, if there are reasonable suspicions of an offence is taking place, or as part of a force's track and trace process, if they enter a police premises. Oh, so they want to use the COVID track and trace process to try and get your details that way, which you're still not obligated to do. Fuck their track and trace process. They can track the virus and we'll trace their activities. How's that? 3.5. Some auditor bloggers also respond by saying they feel threatened or intimidated by staff. Because they are. Because the staff are being threatening and intimidating and coercive. If they do, it is acceptable to ask them how your presence is threatening them. By fucking being there is what's threatening them. I don't know, do you stand up to many heavily armed fucking people and not feel threatened? Especially when you know those cunts have the power to lock you up and throw you in a cell without any fucking good cause and keep you there for 24 hours just because they fucking felt like it, or because they want to make up some impressive shit? No. Learn your rights, everybody. That's where you need to start learning. Your rights exist before any license or contract or agreement or consent ever happens. Your rights were there first. Don't downgrade them to something else. 3.6. Other law enforcement agencies have confronted such groups by saying that they received a call of suspicious behaviour by these persons. These groups immediately respond by what is suspicious about their behaviour. Be honest. Now come on NPCC. You're asking, did you just say be honest to a police officer? They have the legal right to lie. Unbelievable. So, got that, cops? Be honest. If responding based on a call for service of suspicious persons, it is appropriate to say why you are there, such as a response might be similar to the following. Someone called regarding your activity. I would like to ask you a few questions about what you're doing here. You are not being detained and you are free to leave at any time. They're also free to stay right fucking there and not utter a word. That's an interesting suggestion though. Well done, NPCC. Some people find it suspicious and concerning that you are recording our premises and staff. I would simply like to find out what you are doing out here and also be able to reassure our community about what's happening. What community? Your police community? Because they're the only people that are worried about it. People walking past don't seem to give a flying fuck unless they don't know their rights. And yeah, Why should we have to reassure you that we're doing legal and lawful activity? You should be trained. You should have, this memo. Again, if they want to come out and ask these stupid fucking suggestions, just hand them the NPCC document. If they want to know why you're there, hand them the document. Don't utter a word. The document is self-explanatory, is it not? 3.7. If there is nothing suspicious about their behaviour, i.e. like wearing a mask, holding a camera, in a public place, exercising their legal rights and lawful rights, it is perfectly acceptable to respond as such. It is also acceptable to ask them what they are doing, why they are recording, and what their purpose is for recording such activities. And they also have the right to say, I'm not answering your questions. I'm exercising my right to silence. And this document has everything you need to know. Trottle off. It is especially important to note that when a caller taker is receiving and generating a call, okay, this is the call taker. So this is police 101 service or 999 service or whatever fucking stupid cockamamie help the filming me service you have over there. It is especially important that when a call taker, that's you guys at the cops getting the calls, is receiving and generating a call for service concerning a suspicious subject or of suspicious activity, that the call taker obtain facts from the reporting party that articulate what is suspicious. It is of equal importance that dispatchers relay these facts to responders, which they don't. And they certainly don't say, sorry, you're calling because someone's in public using a camera? Are you fucking daft? No, they should say that, but they don't. Okay? If the event is generated by a member of staff's observations, well, which is generally what happens, of course, isn't it? It's a member of staff's observations. It's not someone called, because that's someone's 90% time, a staff member. It is important that the primary responder clearly communicate the circumstances to other responders. Doing so will help prevent a detention being unnecessarily imposed or unlawfully. Don't forget, unnecessarily is also unlawfully, because you cannot detain someone unnecessarily, but you are detaining someone unlawfully without reasonable suspicion. In the event that reason for a detention did, next page, not exist, effort should be made to capture these individuals with body-worn video so they can make a FOIA request. I'm sure that's why. The event identification becomes necessary and to provide evidence of behaviours should a complaint be made. What? Complaint be made against the cops? Would that be that when the body-worn camera is muted, or when it's not worked, or when it's due to electronic failure, or because it wasn't stored properly, or because it's lost, or one of the other hundreds of fucking reasons that the cops come up with as to why you cannot get access to that footage, bullshit normally, then yeah, got that, boys and girls? You should make sure that the event identification becomes necessary and to provide evidence of behaviours should a complaint be made. Okay, they're talking about the cops' behaviours. Got that? Or at least, I'm going to presume that. I wouldn't assume anything, because an assume makes an ass out of you and me. But it's okay to presume without facts. So just so you know. 4. Powers. Now this is where they get their muscles. Powers. 4.1. If you do feel the auditor/blogger, by the fact you're even calling them that means that's what they're doing, behaviour may represent a genuine security risk or risk to the personal information of staff to be misused, or how are they going to prove it's been misused when they've done nothing with it? Be clear and confident of the powers at your disposal and clearly articulate why you are using them. Do not seize a camera or phone unless you deem it evidential. Got that? So don't just grab their fucking camera out of their hands without telling them, clearly articulate it first. Because they can't. 4.2. Here's the old gem. Section 43 of the Terrorism Act 2000 should be a last resort. And yet, what do we hear every fucking time? Oh, it's that last resort. It was a great resort. We all stayed there. It was, no, not one of those resorts. Last resort for the cops to use. Even though it's the first resort they go to. And only when reasonable suspicion exists, okay, there's that catchphrase again, you should consider other possible remedies such as Antisocial Behaviour Act 2014 if applicable. Oh really? So don't use section 43 because that's getting overused. Use the Antisocial Behaviour Act if applicable, which I'm sure you can twirl it round to be applicable, because Antisocial Behaviour Act I'm sure has far less reasonable suspicion required. And to be fair, the way some of these fucking auditors are reacting is antisocial. Okay? Whatever happened to treat others the way you wish to be treated? I don't walk down the road expecting to be called a sausage, Marty. Do I? I don't expect to be called pigs live free. So if you don't want to be treated that way, stop emulating it, because it's just going to come straight back at you. Moving on. 4.3. Consideration could be given to using powers under Section 136 of the Mental Health Act. Oh, how helpful of you, NPCC. Don't use Section 43, but Antisocial Behaviour Act 2014, that's a corker. And if not, let's use the Mental Health Act, which I am perfectly sane, I'd like to add. Let's use that. And that's if it was felt the individual was suffering from acute mental ill health and an immediate need for care and control. Okay? And what gives that police officer the medical training to assess that? Is that cop a mental health worker? Have they been trained in mental health and what are what's the word I'm after? What are the factors what are the factors of mental health being an immediate near and care of attention and control? What are they? Are police talk? Because I fucking wouldn't know. I haven't even bothered looking that one up. Perhaps some of you guys over in England should, just in case they use these wonderful, helpful hints that the NPCC is giving all of those constables out there. And 5, circulation of guidance, which clearly hasn't worked because none of them have either. Perhaps they've been sent it, but again, like I said, they get screened out, so if they don't like reading, that could be why. They don't know. Okay? Cops are too busy out there slaving the grind, They don't have time to read every, 5-page fucking memo that's sent to them. What do you think? These guys are illicit readers or something? Circulation of guidance. 5.1. All staff should be briefed on this guidance. All staff. Not just the with the pips on their shoulders. All staff. Not just constables. All staff, including the... Some of you guys are finding behind the counters. There have been incidents when unsuspecting members of staff have been approached when entering or exiting various parts of the building. Auditors bloggers will also notice any unintentional indiscretion, such as a defective car, uniform, etc. Well, I'm sorry if they have to do the job that the supervisors should be doing, or that land transport officer or a road traffic officer should be doing. If they've got a defective car, why are they using it? Or do they not get slammed with the same fines because they're staff? You know, can they drive around uninsured vehicles without recourse? Can they? Can they drive around with bald tyres or blown headlights or whatever? Can they? No. That's why you have a certificate of fitness, or over here a warrant of fitness, every 6 months to a year to check the car's okay. Unbelievable. All of which can be uploaded onto their channel. Yeah, because photography is not a crime. I have PINAC NZ, in case anyone else wants to know. I have a few other channels, but staff should not use any type of inappropriate or offensive language when interacting with auditors or bloggers, like calling them arseholes or telling them fuck off, or any other abusive or unprofessional, or, I don't know, comments that might breach their fucking professional conducts and standards. Yeah, because staff should not use any type of inappropriate or offensive language when interacting with them. I don't think that got down the line too far to the actual, you know, at the gates. It didn't get to them. 5.2, staff should report all incidents to local intelligence teams for information gathering purposes, because we all know how police have still been out there searching for intelligence for so long, but don't seem to exude any. Don't we? Oh, well, this is beautiful, this. We've got 5.1, we've got 5.2, which I just read you. Oh no, hang on, we've got 5.2 again. All first-line managers of those who are recorded should be informed to help manage any welfare issue that arises in case they have a mental breakdown from being captured on a video recorder. We don't want any welfare issues happening. Oh no. Get a fucking grip. The Force's Cooperative Communications Department should be notified of any incidents in order to support any subsequent public confidence issues and responses that may be required. Bit late for that one there, Jimmy. That one, the horse has gone well out of the gate. Okay? Your corporate communications department wouldn't have a fucking clue how to deal with this shit. But instead, we'll just suppress your rights in general. Not allowed to go out of the house, not allowed to use social media or use any sort of assenting opinions. No. We're just going to get the companies to throw all that shit on you every time they can. Anyway, guys, like I said, didn't want to drag it on for too much, even though that's 40 minutes. Whoops. So yeah, link is in the description. Download it, print it, have it with you if you're going to go out there and do it. Get yourself some knowledge and be empowered. Bye all. Much love to you. Bye.